Toyota just finished the global media unveiling of the all-new Crown, which all of us are very excited, and I just finished a video on this morning. But in addition to the Toyota Crown crossover that you see here, there was 3 other shocking surprises because Toyota kept this right up until this press conference started, which is this new type of Crown in the form of a sport utility vehicle. They're calling this the Crown Sport, as well as the sedan version of the Crown, most likely for domestic/Japanese market, simply called the Crown Sedan. And both of these were not shown to us previously in our embargoed package, so I was very surprised to see these models, especially this one, which is a station wagon crossover. They're calling it the Estate version of the Crown. Looks fantastic, kind of almost like a Porsche Taycan cross Turismo look. So these are very exciting models that we were not previewed beforehand, and we don't know exactly which one are coming to North America and in what order, but they did say that the 3 variations, in addition to the one that was unveiled today, the crossover, will all show up sometime over the next 18 months. So I suspect at least 1, maybe even 2 of them will come to North America. So let's get into it a little bit more. Welcome back. So before we talk about the 3 surprising Crown variations, let's just remind ourselves that the version of the Crown that we are getting here in North America is this version right here, which is simply called the Toyota Crown here in the US and Canadian side, but in Japan they are calling this the Toyota Crown Crossover. Now that name is somewhat misleading because it does have a 5-door liftback design, but it has a real trunk and not a 5-door hatchback style. So it looks like a crossover, it looks like a liftback, but it does have an actual trunk. So this is the model that we are getting in North America, and I have spoken about this extensively in my previous video, so please watch that if you haven't done so already. But the one that really surprised us, the 3 models that came as a shocking news for us today, are these 3 models that were shown by Akio Toyoda. First up is the most beautiful version of the Toyota Crown from my perspective anyways. And they are simply calling this the Toyota Crown Sport, and they are really saying that this is a sport utility version of the Crown. It has kind of like almost the previous Infiniti FX look, as well as a Porsche Macan styling mixed in, and it's just a gorgeous design. Almost has kind of an Aston Martin look in the back as well. And this is the one I want to see happening here in North America because I think it will do absolutely amazing here. So they have not talked much about this model, but I think that's the one that will actually arrive in North America after the standard crossover version of the Crown shows up in the fall here in North America. So I think this is the one that has the best chance of success just because the sport utility vehicle is the absolute hot market right now. In addition to this sport utility version, Toyota showcased 2 other variations of the Crown. This one is a sedan version. Once again, they're simply calling it the Toyota Crown Sedan. This one is definitely geared for the Japanese or Asian market because Akio Toyoda said that this is kind of like a chauffeur-driven executive type sedan for the domestic Japanese market. This is actually a very important model for Japan because a lot of the corporation and senior management want to use this kind of vehicle for corporate car. And I know that the Japanese media was not very happy when they were hearing that the new Crown will be a sport utility or crossover type. So there's no surprise that Toyota decided to develop the sedan version as well to meet the needs and the wants of the Japanese domestic market. The next variation of the Toyota Crown they show is the biggest surprise of all because this is a station wagon version of the Crown. They're calling it Toyota Crown Estate, and they are claiming that it's kind of like a crossover between a station wagon and a sport utility vehicle, and so they don't know quite what to call it, but for lack of a best description, it's called a Crown Estate. I think this is actually the most beautiful of all 3 vehicles, and the one that I would love to get because it's just such a cool vehicle. is kind of following the same design theme as the Porsche Taycan Cross Turismo, as well as the Audi RS6, which is a station wagon, as you guys know. So I think this one might be for the European market or market outside North America, simply because we are not geared for a station wagon type vehicle here. But who knows, because they are saying that this is kind of like a station wagon, but also like a sport utility vehicle slash crossover. So perhaps this will show up as well. I guess maybe what Toyota is trying to do is to show you guys the three different variations in addition to the one that is coming for sure, and maybe gauge our feedback to see which one we like the best. And based on our feedback, maybe they will bring that particular model. But from my experience and from my insight, this is my best guess. Yes, we are getting the crossover version of the Crown that's coming this fall. You have already seen this in quite a bit of details in my previous video. And then I think the sport utility vehicle version called the Crown Sport will come after that, because the sport utility market is such an important market for us and such an important segment for us. They cannot ignore that. So assuming that the Crown market continues to do okay after the initial introduction, I think they will bring this red-colored, red-hot sport utility vehicle Crown, and so that's my best guess. And followed by the sedan, which will probably be only marketed in Japan or some parts of Asia, perhaps like Korea or Taiwan, where they love to use this as a chauffeur-driven vehicle. I'm quite certain that we will not get this version of the Crown, because sedans don't do very well in the dying market here in North America. And then perhaps the estate version or station wagon slash crossover version of the wagon will be for Europe, with maybe slight chance of it arriving here in North America, maybe in latter part of the year and a half. I think it's going to depend a lot on how well the first Crown will sell and how we are providing the feedback to Toyota as a whole. If we get excited and we keep telling them how much we love this estate version of the Crown, they will likely bring it, because it's all based on customers' feedback. But those are some of my comments, and what a surprise, what an amazing surprise that we had today, because having introduction of the Crown itself is already a major news, but being able to see three other variations of the Crown that's going to be coming down the road is a real treasure and a real surprise. So we are very excited about these one. A lot more to come, I'm sure, from Toyota along the way. But for now, I'm going to just focus on talking about the first Crown, which will be coming to us this fall. Once we get some more preview time with it, once we get maybe even a media drive, and eventually we'll get one to drive here in our local street here. I will talk about this Crown, and then hopefully by that time, perhaps end of the year, Toyota will talk about the next 1, 2, or 3 variations of the Crown. So what do you guys think? Which of these 4 do you guys like the best, and which one are you most excited about? Let me know in the comments below. But until next video, I'm going to sign off for now, because it's getting quite late here in the West Coast. And thank you so much for watching my video. If you're able to give me a thumbs up, make some comments, and subscribe, I would truly appreciate that. Thank you so much. I'm signing off for now.